Concerned, she wonders if her restaurant has been affected. At 4:50 a.m. on July 14, 2002, she calls an employee to find out. The morning staff assures Doreen that they have power and all is well. After describing the power failure to her employee, Doreen says something that suggests she's not alone. The employee hears her say, "What other person do you want me to call?" This question is not directed at the employee, and in fact seems to be said as Doreen hangs up the phone. This leaves the distinct impression that someone else is there, but the employee has no idea who. Since Doreen's divorce, she's enjoying dating again. Perhaps she's seeing someone new. At around 5:30 a.m. on July 14th, 2002, Gordon Maths is driving along the highway in front of Doreen's home. It's so early that the highway is practically deserted.
It's not uncommon for people to drive almost on autopilot, especially when they're driving in a fairly wide area, the road is very straight. You often think back and don't even remember the last stretch of the road that you were driving on until something happens. And then suddenly that moment sticks in your brain and it doesn't go away.
Gordon's vehicle is cut off by a black truck speeding on Doreen's driveway. The truck proceeds to drive erratically on the wrong side of the highway. As the truck cuts him off, Gordon manages to get a look at the driver. Gordon later describes the truck driver as a middle-aged man with shoulder-length dark hair.
When someone nearly runs you off the road, you tend to remember it.
He has no idea who the man is, and he's never seen the truck before, but it definitely came out of Doreen Bradley's driveway. One of Doreen's sons describes his mother as someone who picks up men like strays. Sometimes the wrong men. Perhaps this long-haired middle-aged man is one of them. A few hours later, between 9:15 and 9:45 a.m., another vehicle drives past Doreen Bradley's house. Betty Grutyson is driving along the highway in front of Doreen's home when something catches her eye. It's a small white car parked near Doreen's house.
In a small town where everything is familiar, when a new vehicle pops up and is suddenly parked in the area, you tend to notice that. For a witness, when they see something that's different or maybe that they've just never noticed before, that tends to stick with them, and that's important information for an investigator.
It's not Doreen's car, and Betty has no idea whose car it might be. Could that little white car belong to the person with Doreen at 4:50 a.m.? It's 4 hours later. Does Doreen have more than one visitor at her house today? Doreen doesn't show up for work all day. Her employees call her several times, but there's no answer. They leave several messages, but she never calls back. This isn't normal behavior for a successful businesswoman like Doreen. Something unusual is going on in this quiet, idyllic place today. Whatever it is, and however it started, it suddenly turns ugly.
Hey, you folks. Matt McCoy here to talk about the AARP auto insurance program from the Hartford and why people love it so much. This is a good movie. Looks like it got a 94% thumbs up. Now that's pretty high. Even that's less than the 96% of customers 50 and over who recommend the Hartford. In fact, 4 out of 5 AARP members who switched to the Hartford from companies like Allstate, State Farm, and Geico got a lower rate. And many of them saved hundreds on their auto insurance. Not an AARP member? Hey, not to worry. The Hartford can help you join in minutes.
To start saving on your insurance today, get your free quote by calling the Hartford at 1-800-684-6093 or visit trusthartford.com.
I hear this place is great. 90% of diners recommend it. That doesn't beat the 96% of customers who recommend the Hartford. You just can't beat benefits like disappearing deductible. Plus, they offer new car replacement.
New car replacement?
Yep, if your new car is totaled, the Hartford will pay the full replacement cost.
The camera on this phone is amazing.
It's only a 93% satisfaction rating, though. Still less than the Hartford. You know what else? You could save even more if you bundle home and auto. For the savings, benefits, and best-in-class claims experience you deserve, make the switch today.
Join the millions of drivers 50 and over who switched to the AARP auto insurance program from the Hartford and get the savings you want and the award-winning claims experience you deserve. To get your free no-obligation quote and see how much you could save, call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6093 or visit trusthartford.com. The Bucks got your back.
This right here is confidence in a bottle. It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. Look at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
You too can feel better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Call or go online now for our 3-week quick start, just $19.95. The town of Bonnyville, Alberta is located on the north shore of Jessie Lake. 40 kilometers northwest of Bonnyville, near the tiny hamlet of Iron River, lies the home of Doreen Bradley. And it's here, in this idyllic locale, on the day of Sunday, July 14th, 2002, that something unimaginable occurs. On Monday, July 15th, 2002, Doreen doesn't show up for work. This is the second day in a row that she's missing. It causes concern and confusion. Doreen manages the restaurant and the staff need to get a hold of her because food supplies are dwindling. but she's not answering her phone or returning messages. One of her employees remembers that she keeps a spare key to her house in the office and takes it. On the afternoon of Monday, July 15th, 2002, the concerned coworker goes to Doreen's house to make sure everything is okay. There's no answer at the door, so the coworker goes inside. The bathroom light and fan are on, but no one is in there. She finds Doreen on the living room floor, lying on her back, eyes open. For a moment, it might almost appear as if she's still alive. She rushes to see if there's anything that she can do. But Doreen is gone. Horrified, the employee runs out of the house to retrieve her cell phone from inside her vehicle. She's so horrified and flustered that she can't quite remember how to dial 911. She finally gets through, but finds that she can't quite remember where she is.
For a witness who's seen something traumatic, really all you can do is try to calm them down because they're in shock, essentially. You need to get them to the point where they can start to remember facts and images so that they can give you a proper account of what they saw.
Eventually, the employee manages to direct police to Doreen's home. Investigators arrive on the scene and quickly pronounce Doreen Bradley dead. There's no sign of forced entry and no real sign of a struggle. Doreen is wearing a denim summer dress, but it appears to be over top of a nightie.
In particular types of homicides, it's not uncommon for the perpetrator or the assailant to reposition their victim's body or perhaps redress the victim's body. This could be done for several reasons, perhaps in an attempt to mask the cause of death, perhaps to mask the time of death or the circumstances under which that person was there. But there's generally a very specific reason for doing it.
A closer inspection reveals that the denim dress is torn and several buttons are scattered on the floor, making it pretty clear that she's wearing it when the attack occurs. The dress is also pulled up above her breasts and under her chin. It's doing nothing to hide her body. The nightie is bunched up just below her breasts and above her waist. Doreen is completely naked and exposed below her waist, and her legs are spread apart. Her body is covered with dozens of small black puncture wounds, but there's very little blood.
A forensic pathologist has the capacity to identify wounds that were made by a unique weapon. With the case of this victim, she had 31 stab wounds that were like punctures that had no blood coming from them. And by the angle, depth, width, and length of the wound, a forensic pathologist would help law enforcement agencies identify what type of weapon was used.
The cause of death is multiple stab wounds by an unidentified weapon. The best way that the medical examiner can describe it is a long, narrow, ice pick-like weapon. The puncture wounds are consistent with a small round instrument, but there are abrasions indicating the weapon may have been rough in some places, as well as sharp. Nothing that could be the murder weapon is found in or around the house. In fact, investigators find nothing at the scene that can identify possible suspects.
During an autopsy, a forensic pathologist would be obtaining semen fluid or samples from a vaginal cavity to test for DNA of a suspect. Was this normal sexual activity in an individual, or was this a crime of passion and she was sexually assaulted?
The medical examiner collects fluid samples from Doreen and analyzes them for DNA. Each sample contains DNA from the same unidentified male. The examiner labels this person A. It's unclear whether A is the murderer or simply a sexual partner from before the murder.
Well, anyone who's with the victim of a homicide just prior to that homicide would be of importance as far as the investigation goes. They may know the victim. They may have had a reason to be with the victim. They may, in fact, be their murderer. It would be important to establish why they were with the victim of the homicide in the first place. Did they have a reason to be with that person?
There's no DNA on file that matches the samples from unknown male A.
DNA has become a vital tool in solving many types of crimes, particularly homicides and sexual assaults. But DNA presence in and of itself isn't always proof that a crime took place. One would have to be able to match the DNA located at the crime scene to a suspect. If that suspect doesn't have a DNA profile on the system, there's nothing to match it to, and we would have to wait until such time as we could find the suspect's DNA.
Investigators interview witnesses who describe two different vehicles that they saw on Doreen's property around the time of the murder. One is a small white car parked in front of her garage. The other is a black welding truck. The driver of the truck is described as a middle-aged man with shoulder-length, dark hair. Investigators attempt to locate the vehicles and the long-haired man, but are unsuccessful. Investigators are left with almost no clues and no known motive.
Often when investigations hit a virtual roadblock, the investigators need to come up with different ways of obtaining evidence. They need to be creative and think outside the box, if you will. It doesn't always work, but sometimes a little creativity can generate a lot of information.
Investigators have a DNA sample from unknown male A. They need to match it to someone with a real name. In order to do that, they need more samples of DNA from people who know Doreen, or who live or work in the area.
So generally you can't force someone to give a DNA sample unless you've got a warrant for a DNA sample. So if there's reasonable grounds to obtain a DNA sample, the police can apply for a warrant, and then the individual does have to give their DNA. Otherwise, they can give a DNA sample by consent. So the police can ask for a DNA sample, and if someone decides to give one, they can. It's also possible that the police can try to obtain DNA from a suspect using kind of a sneaky method. For example, taking a cigarette butt out of the garbage, but then that evidence would be subject to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and could potentially be excluded depending on the way the police went about in obtaining it.
Investigators collect DNA from volunteers under the guise of donating blood to help the local community. A masonry worker named Fred Karras decides to give a sample.
When forensic experts are obtaining a DNA sample from crime scene, and when they are obtaining DNA samples from the general public, they are looking for 100% guarantee that this is their suspect, and they want that DNA sample to be infallible. Unfortunately, there was not a perfect match for the unknown male.
Two of the samples, however, have an unusual number of similarities to the sample from A. It's possible that one or both of the blood donors are close relatives of A. One of those two donors is Fred Garris. Investigators attempt to obtain voluntary blood samples from all of the close male family members of Fred Garris and the other man. Investigators contact Fred and ask him to have his son, Landon, telephone them. A while later, Landon Garris calls, and investigators ask him to come by the station to talk about the homicide of Doreen Bradley. Landon agrees. When he arrives at the RCMP station, investigators question him about Doreen Bradley. He says he barely knows her, and only because his mother used to work with her 6 or 7 years ago. Investigators ask for his whereabouts on the days around the murder. Landon doesn't recall much about Friday or Saturday, but on Sunday, the actual day of the murder, he remembers going to the lake around 2 p.m. He confirms that he lives in the same rural area as Doreen. He also admits to being inside her house 2 years ago, before she moved in. He's there to help someone else move out. Investigators want a sample of Landon's DNA to compare it to the fluid samples found at the scene. He's reluctant because he expects his DNA may still be in the house from 2 years ago. He also feels like he's being accused of something, and he doesn't like that. Landon alludes to the fact that he's been in a lot of trouble recently, and that he's kind of uptight about all this.
Without a warrant, police need a suspect's consent to collect a DNA sample.
If the suspect consents to provide DNA, they may be charged with an offense. It's just like admitting that they committed a crime. If they were to do that without consulting a lawyer, that's essentially on the suspect. Now, if they indicated they wanted to consult a lawyer and the police didn't give them that ability, then there's a potential for that DNA to not be accepted as evidence by the courts. And any information obtained from that DNA or any charges resulting from it would ultimately be thrown out.
Investigators tell Landon that the blood sample he gives will only be analyzed in association with the murder of Doreen Bradley and nothing else. And once they're done with it, it'll be discarded. Landon says no, insisting that only if it becomes absolutely necessary will he provide a DNA sample. Investigators assure him that it will come to that eventually. So he finally agrees to go ahead and comply.
I had lost about 50 pounds and kind of stalled. And then a friend had said, you ought to look at Weight Watchers Clinic. The combination of Weight Watchers and weight loss medication has changed my life. It's a different body, a different world.
When you get approved with Drive Time, you get the real deal. It's the Drive Time Real Deal Maker.
I can't, I'm too excited. It lets you customize the real down payment and monthly payment of the car you want to buy.
That's super smart. I make the deal myself.
It's your car. You should make the deal you want.
And the deal you make on your phone is the deal you pay. It's that simple. You make the deal yourself.
Then just go to the dealership for a haggle-free purchase because you already made the deal yourself. Get the real deal at drivetime.com.
At Consumer Cellular, we pride ourselves on giving you fast, reliable, nationwide coverage at up to half the cost of the leading carriers. But don't worry, we've got more than that going for us. Like this beautiful store in Arizona, for example. It's the perfect place for me to tell you a little bit more about our phones and how they can become your phones. You name it, we probably got it. We have the top smartphones from all the major companies. If it's state-of-the-art cameras you want, we got them. If you want a smartphone with lots of bells and whistles but won't break the bank, we've got that too. We even have a flip phone, like the Iris Flip. We even have watches. I know what you're thinking. What if I don't have one of these amazing stores in my town yet? Can I get these phones sent to me?
Yes, you can.
Is it easy?
Easy as pie.
New customers save $50 when you sign up today. Call 800-918-5494. Find us in Target or visit consumercellular.com to switch today.
She knows what she's talking about. Pick up the phone.
You know what I love about Quick Hit Slots? It's the mobile slots game that gives you those authentic Vegas thrills. And it's free to play. You just can't beat it. Only just before the big win. Quick Hit Slots has all the games you know and love. And best of all, the jackpot. Find out why millions are playing it. Download Quick Hit Slots for free and get a 6 million coin bonus. Make every day a winning day.
Why has America accepted the wait for payday? Introducing MyPay from Chime. Get up to $500 of your pay before payday. No interest, no credit check, no mandatory fees. Get paid when you say. With MyPay, get started at chime.com.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
Try it today for only $14.95 plus get free shipping. Visit plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Coming up next on True Crime Network. Doreen Bradley is found dead in her rural home in the tiny hamlet of Iron River, Alberta, Canada, which is 18 miles northwest of Bonnyville. 31 stab wounds mar Doreen's body. The medical examiner finds a small amount of fluid from an unknown male, labeled as A. Men from the local community donate blood so investigators can look for a match. The results are in, and Fred Karras's blood reveals a partial match, leading investigators to seek samples from all of Fred's male relatives, including his son, Landon. Landon is strangely unwilling at first. Other members of his family are much more cooperative, including his father and 2 uncles. Landon finally agrees when he's told it will eventually become mandatory. Living in the rural area near Iron River, Landon is romantically involved with a woman who, like him, is in her 20s. But all is not as it seems. She's already in a common law relationship with children. Because of the affair, Landon gets into several altercations with his lover's common-law husband that end up in charges being laid, along with a probation order to stay away from the woman.
There are many different types of court orders that contain no contact conditions. So an individual who's fearful of a domestic partner, a former domestic partner, can go to the court and apply for a protection order or a restraining order against that person. In this case, the no contact order is part of Landon's probation order. So that means that as part of his sentence, he was ordered by a judge not to have any contact with her.
But his lover doesn't want Landon to stay away and encourages him to come and see her. He still loves her too and wants to be with her. When it's discovered that Landon continues to see the woman, he's charged again for violating his probation order. These convictions are the trouble that Landon alludes to when investigators ask him to give a DNA sample.
Certainly police deal with many people involved in criminal activities, and the fact that somebody has a criminal record indicates that they have had contact with the police in the past. A criminal record for one particular crime does not mean necessarily that that person is capable or has automatically committed a different type of crime. It also doesn't mean that they've committed the same type of crime. It is an indication of past behavior, can also be an indicator of continued behavior or a pattern of behavior, but a criminal record in and of itself is not evidence. It certainly gives investigators a direction to go in terms of interrogating a suspect or considering who might be a suspect.
He doesn't recall much about Friday or Saturday, the 12th and 13th of July. But on Sunday, July 14th, 2002, Landon goes to the lake where several people see him. Some might say that it's odd that he has no alibi on the 2 days before the murder, but on the actual day of the murder, he's seen by several people 40 kilometers away from the crime scene.
When we look at someone who is intending to commit a criminal offense, it's not uncommon that they would attempt to set up an alibi for themselves by placing themselves somewhere else other than where the crime was about to take place, but close enough that they could justifiably be at the crime scene and then back to where their alibi is. That's something that people often consider. They're not always smart enough to pull off the perfect alibi, however.
Could Landon kill Doreen in the morning and have time to get to the lake by 2 p.m.? Is he the one who's in the house with Doreen when she calls her employee? Could he also be having an affair with her? Friends say that Landon is totally in love with his married girlfriend, who is in her 20s. They can't believe he would be involved with any other woman, never mind one who is more than twice his age. Landon's blood sample is examined by a DNA analyst, who advises police that it is an exact match to the DNA extracted from Doreen's body.
An exact match means the sample comes from the same person.
Investigators have been unable to find any other evidence that points to Landon. They can't even come up with a motive. But the DNA is such a perfect match that they feel it's all they need. On October 18th, 2002, police charged Landon with first-degree murder of Doreen Bradley.
Hey, I just got a text from my sister. You remember Rick, her neighbor?
Sure. He's the 76-year-old guy who still runs marathons, right?
Sadly, not anymore.
What? You mean...
Mm-hmm. Just like that.
Wow. So sudden. We're not about to have the we need life insurance conversation again, are we?
No, we're having the we're getting coverage so we don't have to worry about it conversation.
So you're calling about the $9.95 a month plan from Colonial Penn?
I am. We put it off long enough. We are getting that $9.95 plan today.
Is it time for you to call about the $9.95 plan? I'm Jonathan from Colonial Penn Life Insurance Company. Sometimes we just need a reminder not to take today for granted. It could be the death of someone you know or a health scare. That's why today could be a great day to call for free information about Colonial Penn's $9.95 plan. If you're age 50 to 85, you can get guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance starting at just $9.95 a month. There are no health questions, so you can't be turned down for any health reason. This is permanent coverage. Just pay your premiums for lifelong security. The $9.95 plan is Colonial Penn's #1 most popular whole life plan. Options start at just $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. Your rate can never go up. It's locked in for life. Don't put it off. Take the first easy step. Call today for free information. And you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. So call now.
Call 1-800-243-5651 for your free information and free gift. That's 1-800-243-5651. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-243-5651. 1-800-243-5651. Call now.
Hello, Colonial Penn?
Prove that there is such a thing as free money. We give people a little sample of Ibotta.
Hi, would you like to try a sample? What is it? Ibotta.
If I can just take this. Is this real?
Yes. You're not allergic
cash back every time you shop with Ibotta.
Honey, you were so right. I listed this in less than a minute. I told you listing on Poshmark was quick and easy. Oh, I sold my black tote and my slip dress. Let's go get mani-pedi. Ooh, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Poshmark.
Want extra cash? It's easy with the Poshmark app. Download to start selling today.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. Look at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
You too can feel better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Call or go online now for our 3-week quick start, just $19.95.
Say hello to Litter Robot, the solution to all your litter box problems. Remove the chore of scooping and track the smell. Goodbye odor. Goodbye scooping. Goodbye litter box. Hello, Litter Robot.
After Doreen Bradley is brutally murdered, local police petitioned for DNA samples in hopes of connecting them with the evidence found at the scene. After they discover that Landon Karras is a perfect DNA match for the evidence found on victim Doreen Bradley, police arrest and charge him with first-degree murder. October 18th, 2002. Now in custody, investigators question Landon for 7.5 hours over 2 days. He denies any involvement with Doreen's death. He also repeatedly asks that a second sample of his blood be taken for DNA comparison.
It's not common for a suspect to offer the DNA sample to police. More often than not, they are trying to prevent their DNA from being obtained.
Investigators decide to not accept a second voluntary sample, but instead apply to a provincial judge to get a warrant. On October 24th, 2002, a DNA warrant is issued by a provincial court judge. Investigators take a second blood sample from Landon Karras. Much like the first one, the second DNA sample is a perfect match for the DNA found inside Doreen Bradley. On Tuesday, September 27th, 2005, the murder trial of Landon Karras begins. The prosecution paints a picture of Landon intentionally killing Doreen Bradley in a violent sexual assault. He's in Doreen's home on the morning of July 15th, 2002. It's unclear whether Doreen knows he's there or if it's a surprise to her. The pathologist testifies that it's obvious that Doreen's denim dress is violently grabbed, causing 7 buttons to be ripped off. He also notes that the straps of the dress are used to strangle Doreen. At some point, there's an injury to the back of her head. This injury may have caused unconsciousness, but the pathologist is unable to say for sure. Judging from the torn dress, the position of the nightie and dress, the fact that she's naked and exposed, and that her legs are spread, it seems clear that Landon sexually assaults Doreen. His seminal fluid is later found inside Doreen, so sexual intercourse is definite. The pathologist can't say for sure that it's rape.
A slight scrape found within the vaginal area of the deceased during autopsy does not indicate that that was a sexual assault that she sustained.
The prosecution describes Landon stabbing Doreen 31 times with a weapon of some kind. They don't have the weapon, and they can't say exactly what the weapon is, only that it's a long, narrow, ice pick-like weapon. The pathologist says that the lack of blood around the wounds may be due to the strangulation. Doreen is already dead before most of the stab wounds are made. The defense claims that Landon is nowhere near her house when Doreen is murdered. A witness testifies that around the time of the murder, she sees Landon at the Fort Lake campground, which is about 40 kilometers away. Oddly enough, other witnesses claim that Landon is with them at the time of the murder, but not at the campground.
Alibis may seem like a slam dunk, but if there are multiple alibi witnesses who contradict each other or contradict the version of events of the accused, it's up to the jury to determine whether any of those witnesses hold credence.
Many people from the community believe that Landon is innocent, and they do what they can to help him. 48 letters are submitted to the court, each one expressing a strong belief in his innocence. His father, Fred Karras, is absolutely certain of his son's innocence. Fred goes so far as to suggest that someone collected Landon's semen from the truck where he and his girlfriend make out, and then planted it on Doreen's body. Many of Landon's supporters point out that he's almost completely bald, and what little hair he has is short and blonde. He looks nothing like the middle-aged man with long, shoulder-length dark hair fleeing the scene. Never mind the fact that the middle-aged man is driving a black welding truck. And Landon drives a burnt orange pickup truck. There's also some suggestion that the murder weapon could be a welder's rod, which would make sense given the black welding truck. Supporters can't believe that 28-year-old Landon, who's totally in love with his 20-something girlfriend, would be interested in a 58-year-old woman, never mind sexually assault her. The defense stresses the fact that the prosecution has not provided a murder weapon, fingerprints, witnesses who can place Landon at the scene, or even a motive. Their case is relying solely on the fact that his DNA is a match for the DNA found inside Doreen. In closing, the prosecution points out that the odds of a random male having the same DNA profile as a crime scene sample are 1 in 5.6 trillion.
DNA evidence can be a very powerful tool, and it's seen as very persuasive by juries because it's based in science.
The defense suggests that Landon could have had a sexual fling with Doreen long before the murder. His DNA could have remained for up to 3 weeks. The defense also points at other suspects who might be guilty, such as the long-haired man in the truck that was never found. The prosecution urges the jury not to be fooled by red herrings. It might be tempting to blame this on the mysterious man in the truck, but it's a red herring. It doesn't explain Landon's DNA. Both sides rest, and the jury retires to deliberate. According to witnesses, while waiting for the jury to come back, the prosecutor admits that he doesn't think Landon will be found guilty because there isn't enough evidence. On November 10th, 2005, after 2 days of deliberation, the jury finds Landon Karras guilty of first-degree murder.
If you're on the fence about getting your degree here at SNHU, you can do it. All it takes is one simple step that can change your life forever.
Start your future today at snhu.edu.
I've been driving a truck all my life. That's what I like, because I was like being free. You can go what you want, do what you want. In 2013, a bear ran across the front of my truck, and I had to avoid him instead of hitting him. I got a good settlement for it and everything, and that helped me to go out and acquire gold and silver. When I got the settlement, I just stuck it in the bank, and that's when I got the brochure from U.S. Money Reserve, and that's when I decided I can make more money with this than I could have leaving it in the bank. Because if I put 20 grand of paper in there, and I have 20 grand of gold, the paper ain't gonna make me any money. I just bought it because it's my insurance policy. So my family will have it, Kay will have it, and we won't have to worry about money anymore. It was the best thing I ever did, I tell you. It's worth a lot more than paper is that you got in your wallet. It's nice holding it in your hands, well, I'll tell you. It's real nice.
If you've bought gold in the past or would like to learn more about why physical gold should be an important part of your portfolio, pick up the phone and call to receive the complete guide to buying gold, which will provide you with important, never-seen-before facts you should know about making gold, silver, and platinum purchases.
Call now to also receive our new 2024 Global Gold Forecast Special Report. Inside, you'll find the real issues on why you need to start owning gold today. You can also receive a copy of our new report, Protection in the Risk Zone.
Pick up the phone and call America's Gold Authority, U.S. Money Reserve. With 2 decades in business, over $1 billion in transactions, and more than 500,000 clients worldwide, U.S. Money Reserve is one of the most dependable gold distributors in America.
With Chime, I can get paid when I want. Why do we accept waiting 2 weeks for payday? I work hard every day, but I don't get paid every day. Because of Chime, I don't have to wait to get paid anymore. With my pay, I can get up to $500 of my pay on my schedule. There's no interest, no credit checks, no mandatory fees. I love being in control of my money, and for the first time, I can control my payday. And you can too. And that's why I Chime. Join me at chime.com and get paid when you say.
Spot Pet insurance plans help pet parents focus on the moments that matter and worry less about unexpected vet bills. From puppyhood and beyond, Spot can cover up to 90% of eligible vet visits. Visit spotpet.com to get a free quote.
Real cases. She'd been murdered. Chilling details.
The whole floor started to glow.
And the science that cracks them wide open.
Let's cement our case.
Uncover the truth with Forensic Files. Weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. and Sundays at 1. Only on True Crime Network.
Witnesses say that the prosecutor is visibly surprised by the verdict, and he tells the judge that he didn't expect it. Karras did not testify during the trial, but he speaks to the court now. He says that he is sad and disappointed, and he wants everyone to know that he did not kill Doreen Bradley. The judge immediately sentences Landon Karras to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years.
In Canada, first-degree murder carries an automatic life sentence without the possibility of parole for 25 years.
Friends and family of Karras, as well as many townspeople, are shocked and saddened because they don't believe that Karras is a killer. In November 2007, Alberta's highest court dismisses an appeal to grant Karras a new trial. They say that the presence of his DNA inside the victim's body has never been sufficiently explained by Karras. Karras tries again, but on March 27, 2008, the Supreme Court of Canada refuses to hear his appeal. They do not give a reason for their decision. For the tiny community of Iron River and the town of Bonnyville, life slowly returns to normal. Some take comfort in the knowledge that a murderer has been locked up and that a victim has been given justice. Others will always question what really happened on that day in July of 2002. The entire truth may never be known.
This summer, we're in a race against time as temperatures rise. Abused and neglected animals across the country are suffering right now in the unbearable, scorching heat. They're thirsty and panting, chained outside with no water, and many are desperately trying to hang on for just one more day.
Extreme heat can have a major impact on animals, and we see that all the time. You know, without shade, to be without shelter, without adequate water, and basically just left out there dealing with the baking sun all day.
Will you come forward to help save an animal in distress today? Visit joinaspca.org. Call this toll-free number or scan the code on your screen to be counted for this life-saving appeal. Donate now, and with your gift of just $19 a month, you can help save an animal's life this summer. Go online, call, or scan now. It's just 63 cents a day. We will put your gift to work right away, rescuing animals who might not survive if we don't get to them soon. But the situation is urgent, and tomorrow could be too late for an animal who is suffering in the sweltering heat right now.
In my mind, 1 more hour is not acceptable. These animals have suffered enough.
This is no way for any animal to live, and it's heartbreaking to imagine what they are going through. They're desperately trying to hang on, but time is running out. Your support is the help they need right now. Don't wait.
These animals have been dealing with that environment and probably much worse for a long time.
So visit our website, call this number, or scan the code on your screen, and donate just $19 a month. Do it in the next 10 minutes, and we'll send you this free welcome kit, including our limited edition Animal Champion t-shirt.
We cannot put an end to this type of animal cruelty without the generous support of the ASPCA donors.
If there ever was a time, this is it. So if you sign up in the next 10 minutes, we'll send you this free welcome kit, including this beautiful t-shirt, for taking action right away to save an animal's life this summer.
These animals have suffered enough, and maybe you're going to be the reason why those animals will never have to suffer again.
We're in a race against time to reach vulnerable animals who are barely hanging on. Help rescue an animal today. Go online, call, or scan right now.
The issue of animal cruelty and animal suffering across this country is an enormous issue. It's easy sometimes to kind of disassociate with something that's not right in front of you. Our commercials are showing footage, and it's often a softened version of what is actually occurring in these situations. We see dogs carrying chains heavier than their own body weight. And this is how this dog lives its entire life. Basically a circle. This is its whole existence. We have found dogs with no protection from the elements, to be without shelter, without adequate water. Sometimes they're just left to languish until they die.
And that's why we need your support more urgently than ever. So go online, call, or scan this code to save an animal who's suffering.
When I think about the suffering that I see, it's all terrible. It is so much more common than people think.
And so much worse. But today, you can take one simple action to save an animal's life. Just scan this code, or you can visit our website or call this toll-free number and sign up with your $19 monthly gift. You will save lives. That's our promise. Do it in the next 5 minutes, and we'll send you this exclusive t-shirt and welcome kit.
If you are there in person and you see what we're seeing and you hear the cries and the whimpering and you feel the fear, I think most people would be as outraged as I am.
Please hear their cries. Listen to your heart and help them. Go online, call, or scan now.
Big city crimes hit small town America. Heartland Homicide. Next.
Turtleford, Saskatchewan, 2003. In a picturesque rural town, a senior citizen lives a life of comfort and security. Fredrick Banks loves his cars and flashing money around community. He's safe in Turtleford. He's amongst friends and neighbors.
I don't think he had a mean bone in his body.
He didn't write no checks. He had cash.
But a stranger has come to town. A stranger who will change the life of Fredrick Banks and the community of Turtleford, Saskatchewan forever.
There's something not quite right here.
He gave you an uneasy feeling. You definitely did.
Turtleford is a town in the rural municipality of Mervyn, number 499, in the Canadian province of Saskatchewan. Located on Highway 26, near the intersection of Highway 3 and Highway 303, it was once considered a hub. The first settlers arrive in 1907, and the next year, a small cluster of buildings spring up. The location becomes known as Turtleford for its proximity to the Turtle River. In 1913, Turtleford gets a post office, and when the railways extend from North Battleford to Turtleford, the town only continues to grow and prosper. Today, Turtleford is a thriving farm and oil community, surrounded by pristine freshwater lakes and golf courses. Turtleford offers a bustling rural downtown with a wide variety of services for a population of just over 500. The town's quaint charm is summed up in Ernie, the mascot, built to commemorate Turtleford's acquisition of town status in 1983. Constructed with welded metal, mesh, and cement, Ernie sits on Highway 26, waiting to welcome visitors. It was in 2003 that Turtleford welcomed a stranger into town, a man unlike anyone that the townsfolk had come across before. He's not someone seeking the town amenities or the natural beauty of rural Saskatchewan. He's looking for something else. He's like a specter, mostly hovering on the fringes. If he's noticed by anyone, it's as a figure in the peripheral view, walking.
He gave you an uneasy feeling. You definitely did.
People wonder who he is, but never for more than a moment. Then they go back to their lives. Nothing much changes in Turtleford, at first. It's a close-knit community, and one member in particular is recognized by all, quirky 89-year-old Fredrick Banks.
Uncle Fred was really outgoing. He liked everybody, and I don't think he had a mean bone in his body. Really happy to see anybody, and if you stood and visited with him for a while, he'd talk to you. Yeah, he was always happy to see people.
Fred lives alone and is an eccentric character. He's fond of cash and normally carries between $4,000 and $6,000 in his wallet, typically in the form of $100 bills. Many of Fred's bills bear his initials, FB, that he's written himself in ink.
I don't think he really believed in banking. He stored his money in different locations within his house and buildings and things, I guess. Fred purchased anything, he went in and paid cash for them. There wasn't much use in trying to change his ways.
We often hear the conversations that people have about living in their small community and how safe it is, and that they don't lock their doors because they feel so safe. But then it always changes when an event takes place, something violent or something shocking, and suddenly they're all locking their doors because that feeling of trust and security has essentially evaporated. The idea that crimes like homicides, violent crimes, don't occur in small towns is essentially a fallacy. The same dynamics at play in large city centers also occur in small towns when we're talking about intimate partner relationships and other types of relationships where these violent outbursts can take place in the blink of an eye.
Just a few weeks earlier, Fredrick tells his brother he has over $10,000 in his wallet, which he's stuffed under the seat in his Thunderbird, his other love, beyond large amounts of cash.
His two prized possession cars were his 1966 two-door hardtop Ford Thunderbird and a 2000 Ford Thunderbird.
He loved his cars. He loved to show off his car when I stopped to pick garbage up. Every Friday I'd stop there.
It was a beautiful car, and he was just excited to share it with everyone.
Anytime you went driving with Fred, he had a pretty heavy foot on the gas pedal, and he liked to show you what his cars would do.
One time he showed me the secret compartment in his wallet that had extremely large bills in it that I'd never seen before.
He didn't write no checks. He had cash. That was the days you could get $1,000 bills, and that's how he paid for his cars.
As Fred Banks and the residents of Turtleford go about their daily business, the mysterious stranger is seen here and there around town. He's spotted as a lone figure who lingers outside of a church on a Sunday. Noticed inside a store, he drifts through with minimal interaction.
I seen him several times around town, and I went to the police. I was a JP at the time. I went to the police and I said, "You better go check that guy out. I said, he looks like he's up to no good."
On August 27th, 2003, Fred is without a care in the world, oblivious to the stranger. But the stranger is not oblivious to him.
I could see where him and Fred would cross paths, like if Fred, was out in his yard, or if Fred was at the post office, or if Fred went for groceries, or any of those things, he would have crossed paths with him, very possibly.
Fredrick finds opportunities to show off his wallet of cash along the way. At the same time, the stranger navigates the town anonymously.
I'm sure that this fellow knew that Fred had this money in his wallet.
It's not uncommon for residents of small communities to feel comfortable engaging in behavior they would never dream of in a large center. A sense of familiarity allows them to feel free. Perhaps for Fred Banks, this was just his way of portraying his best self. Fred makes small talk with all the Turtleford residents he meets. After several days of seemingly aimless exploration of Turtleford, this morning, the stranger has something that he plans to do. Eventually, Fred heads home. Fred Banks is last seen at about 10 a.m. And nothing seems out of the ordinary.
He was willing to talk. You didn't visit too long with him because, he didn't like to visit too much, but he'd be out cutting his grass, or I'd go in and change his water meter. Very kind man.
The residents of Turtleford believe they are safe, and no one is more innocent than Fredrick Banks. The stranger in town is stalking Fred like a lone predator, and the predator has finally cornered his prey.
Hey, I just got a text from my sister. You remember Rick, her neighbor?
Sure. He's the 76-year-old guy who still runs marathons, right?
Sadly, not anymore.
What? You mean...
Mm-hmm. Just like that.
Wow. So sudden. We're not about to have the we need life insurance conversation again, are we?
No, we're having the we're getting coverage so we don't have to worry about it conversation.
So you're calling about the $9.95 a month plan from Colonial Penn?
I am. We put it off long enough. We are getting that $9.95 plan today.
Is it time for you to call about the $9.95 plan? I'm Jonathan from Colonial Penn Life Insurance Company. Sometimes we just need a reminder not to take today for granted. It could be the death of someone you know or a health scare. That's why today could be a great day to call for free information about Colonial Penn's $9.95 plan. If you're age 50 to 85, you can get guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance starting at just $9.95 a month. There are no health questions, so you can't be turned down for any health reason. This is permanent coverage. Just pay your premiums for lifelong security. The $9.95 plan is Colonial Penn's #1 most popular whole life plan. Options start at just $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. Your rate can never go up. It's locked in for life. Don't put it off. Take the first easy step. Call today for free information. And you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. So call now.
Call 1-800-243-5651 for your free information and free gift. That's 1-800-243-5651. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-243-5651. 1-800-243-5651. Call now.
Hello, Colonial Penn?
At Drive Time, you can do a lot right on your phone, like get approved, then start shopping thousands of cars with real terms, all with no hit to your credit in as little as 30 seconds. But this is a 15-second ad. It sure is. Go to drivetime.com and do a lot in not a lot of time.
Introducing the new Weight Watchers app.
I've lost 60 pounds and I can still enjoy all of the foods that I love. Small changes lead to big results.
Weight Watchers' new app features can make your weight loss journey easier. So all you gotta do is you. Join Weight Watchers today.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
Try it today for only $14.95 plus get free shipping. Visit plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
With Chime, I can get paid when I want. I couldn't believe it. I can get up to $500 of my pay on my schedule. There's no interest, no credit checks, no mandatory fees. And that's why I Chime. Join me at Chime.com and get paid when you say.
One slip up exposed their deadly secrets. Investigate the key downfalls. The stupid things that this man did. Of the most ruthless criminals.
This was crucial evidence.
A Killer's Mistake on True Crime Network.
Turtleford is a friendly farm and oil community, and despite its small size, residents are used to visitors from all around who are attracted to the waters, the golfing, and the natural beauty of Saskatchewan. It's 2003, and the local town of Turtleford has welcomed a stranger. He goes largely unnoticed, but some who see him say he carries an air of mystery about him. Local man, 89-year-old Fred Banks, doesn't seem to notice the man. Little does Fred know, but with the stranger comes danger and the unthinkable. On Saturday, August 30th, 2003, people notice that Fred Banks isn't making his usual appearances around town. When Fred can't be contacted, family alert the authorities.
Phoned a number of times, no answer. And so they were rather concerned. They kind of thought there's something not quite right here.
The body of Fred Banks is found in his garage at 11:40 a.m.
We'd left, I think, on the Friday previous. We were up in the Narrow Hills Provincial Park at a lake with all of my family except for my sister. So we were all camped up there, and we didn't know that anything was happening until the DNR came to our campsite, and they had a hard time finding us because we like to camp in remote places, and told us that Vicky, my sister, was trying to get hold of us. It was before cell phones, but they had a satellite phone, so then we phoned Vicky, and Vicky told us.
It's one thing to die of natural causes when you're 89 years old, but it's another thing to die by being murdered at 89 years old.
Vicky told us that something had happened to Uncle Fred and that he was dead. She didn't say he was murdered. I didn't hear that anyhow. And she was very upset. But he'd been sick in July of that year, and I didn't know exactly what had happened to him. Like, I was worried maybe that I don't know.
No one is expecting there to be a murder in peaceful Turtleford.
People wanted to know how this happened. How could it happen? Why did it happen? How could anyone do that to him?
It's just Fred. You know, people, what's going on? What's going on? Well, Fred was murdered last night. You only have to tell one guy and the whole town knows.
Police inspect the murder scene.
The most important thing is the preservation of evidence, because this tells the story of exactly how Fred Banks has died. And there may be DNA samples with the way his body has fallen, if there is a weapon that is concealed. There is a lot of things that the professionals of forensic experts and law enforcement need to go through before we can remove the body from the scene.
The Thunderbird is open. Various envelopes and papers are strewn about the front passenger side of the vehicle, and the wallet belonging to Fredrick Banks is found empty.
I didn't have concerns about him being in Turtleford showing people that he had large amounts of money, because everybody knows everybody, right?
The injuries to Fredrick's head and face are extensive. A bloody pickaxe-type hammer is found near the body. A lock blade-type knife is under his hip. Police send items from the crime scene for DNA testing. Authorities prepare to make a thorough area canvass to search for possible leads.
I think any time there's a serious crime, like a homicide, whether it's in a small town or a large city center, an area canvass is a vital tool that investigators will use to try to obtain some preliminary information as to what happened. So when you're getting into a small town situation, investigators will often rely on that canvass because so many people know what their neighbors are doing. Those in closest proximity to where the event took place are likely to have more information about what happened.
Everybody was just in shock. You know, the RCMP were doing what they had to do, which means we didn't know things.
The police interview a number of people who report they've seen a stranger in Turtleford the days prior to the discovery of Fredrick's body. Fred's neighbor reports an incident that only now seems to bear significance. He speaks to a man who called himself Howard, who expresses an interest in the old man's car. Residents now consider the presence of the stranger. A woman that attends a church service across the street from Fred's house has something suspicious to report. On August 24th, she notices a slim man wearing a bunny hug, the Saskatchewan term for a pullover sweater with a hood. The man appears to be destitute. She's concerned about him, and while he doesn't appear to need any assistance, she writes her name and phone number on a piece of paper and encourages him to call her if he needs help. The officer takes down the description of the man in question. Shortly after the murder, a cashier from a Turtleford retail store has interactions with a newcomer as well. On Wednesday, August 27th, he sells a visitor a backpack. He recalls something odd that happens later in the week. The clerk recalls seeing a man who looks like the same person he sold the backpack to discard an old backpack in a garbage bin. The description given is identical to the others. The anecdotes are painting a picture. A teller from the Turtleford Bank has an odd experience on her shift that she shares with police. On Thursday, August 28th, a customer in a bunny hut approaches her wicket and asks her to change his money into smaller denominations.
The teller told him that he had to basically stay in line, and he left at that point.
Police follow the trail. A Turtleford gas station employee reports that on Thursday, August 28th, she sells a one-way bus ticket to North Battleford for departure the following morning. It's verified that the bus that the visitor boards arrives in North Battleford at 11 a.m. on August 29th. Authorities have a good idea of what the suspect looks like and share this information with other jurisdictions in the hunt for a suspect who is on the move. The man who calls himself Howard seems to be getting around. At approximately 11:15 a.m. on August 29th, a bank clerk in North Battleford is approached by a client who gives her a wad of $100 bills, asks her to count out 4,000 and deposit that amount. All the bills bear ink markings. The transaction is captured on a video surveillance tape. On August 29th, a customer named Sangster checks into a room at the Beaver Hotel in North Battleford. A North Battleford resident reports that on a late August afternoon, about 2 p.m., she goes to a North Battleford hotel bar for a drink. She enters the back alley behind the hotel to smoke a cigarette, and there she sees a stranger discard a backpack in a dumpster. She calls out to him not to do that, so he retrieves the backpack and disposes of something from it. Then the man approaches her, hands her the empty backpack, and leaves. The stranger wanders around the hotel that night in a way that frightens the owners. They alert the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
So here we have an RCMP detachment who would share information over the local system, so all RCMP officers within the area would have a knowledge of what occurred and what to look for. And any information with respect to direction of travel would be fanned out accordingly. Having established themselves as the lead investigating agency or detachment, any information received would come back to the investigators, and they would be responsible for sort of coordinating who gets notified next or where to deploy their resources as they feel are necessary.
On September 2nd, 2003, authorities catch up to the stranger, whose name they discover is Howard Sangster.
They didn't have any problem arresting him, and then they come to me and I signed a remand warrant for him.
While the hunt for the suspect is on, forensic testing is conducted on the weapons found at the crime scene. A sample from a particular swab taken from the handle of the pickaxe returns results of mixed origin. It's consistent with having originated from two individuals. The tests conclude that Fred Banks and Howard Sangster are both possible contributors. Back in Turtleford, Fred's death is having a real impact on the residents.
It shook me because Fred's house is just down that block from here, and I understand that he was gone, but I still struggled after a council meeting to go outside to my vehicle, which is parked behind the office, because it's a little bit dark. I knew there was no danger there for me, but it was hard for a long time to do that. And I think as a community, it was difficult for us to comprehend how anyone would hurt such a sweet man.
So, are you guys still thinking about going to Italy?
Yeah, just booked the flight. Great. You guys are going to love it.
We went last year and it was just so beautiful. Right?
Frank, you okay, bud?
This is the best steak I've ever had.
Right, and I get them every month.
Nothing compares to the taste of Omaha steaks, guaranteed. Save $30 on our new USDA certified tender filet mignon with promo code TASTE30 at checkout.
I'm happy. I'm happy to have gold. I have gold as a hedge against inflation. I know that this is the only thing that represents real money. I've had a portfolio of course, stocks, but no one ever talked about gold as part of your portfolio. To make a long story short, I end up buying gold for the first time. And boy, was I excited. What I like about owning physical gold is that I'm in control of my money. No one else has his hands on it, but I can put my hands right on it right now. If I need it right away, it's there.
If you would like to learn more about why physical gold should be an important part of your portfolio, simply call to receive the complete guide to buying gold, filled with new and exclusive information, including facts you should know about making any gold, silver, platinum, or palladium purchase. Call now to also receive our new 2024 Global Gold Forecast Special Report. Inside, you'll find the real issues on why you need to start owning gold today. You can also receive a copy of our new report, Protection in the Risk Zone. U.S. Money Reserve can walk you through the 3 simple steps of transferring your existing 401k or IRA into a precious metals IRA backed by physical gold to further protect your assets from market instability. Pick up the phone and call U.S. Money Reserve, America's Gold Authority, right now to get your free gold kit and IRA information, including the 3 simple steps for transferring your existing 401k, 403b, and traditional IRA.
With 2 decades in business, over $1 billion in transactions, and more than 500,000 clients worldwide, U.S. Money Reserve is one of the most dependable gold distributors in America.
I'm a dog. And since my owner's got me a spot pet insurance plan, they're getting cash back on covered vet bills. Good boys like us rack up some bad vet bills, but spot plans help my owners focus on our care, not the cost. Choose Spot. Customizable pet plans you both will love.
Say hello to Litter Robot, the solution to the litter box problem for you and your cat. Never scoop again. With patented self-cleaning technology, Litter Robot separates clean litter from dirty clumps. Goodbye, litter box. Hello, Litter Robot.
Coming up next on True Crime Network.
80-year-old Fredrick Banks has been tragically murdered in Turtleford, Saskatchewan. Police investigations have followed the drifter across the province with the help of uniquely marked bills belonging to Banks, and eyewitness accounts of people who identify this person as the man who was in Fred's town during the time of his death. Authorities have finally caught up with this man and discover him to be Howard Sangster. And he is no stranger to trouble. Now in custody, authorities learn that Howard Sangster had a notable past. Howard Sangster is arrested and charged with bank robbery in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia in 1995. But Sangster is found not guilty by reason of insanity. Afterwards, he moves into a rooming house. But he perpetrates a violent attack on the owner of the rooming house, stabbing him 17 times. Miraculously, the victim survives. Sangster is committed indefinitely to a psychiatric hospital. But he's released 6 years later when medical professionals decide that Howard is ready to rejoin society. It's 2001. During this time, he lives in Piedmont, Nova Scotia with his mother. He later successfully applies for an absolute discharge, thus cleaning his permanent record. This action prevents authorities from keeping track of him.
The conditional discharge is when someone who's found not guilty by reason of mental disorder is discharged from hospital and allowed to live in the community, but they're subject to conditions set by the review board. So complying with treatment, taking medication as directed, abstaining from drugs and alcohol, and that person is under medical supervision. So an absolute discharge is granted when the review board believes that someone's no longer a threat or a substantial threat to society. So if someone demonstrates stability over a long period of time, that's when they would be granted an absolute discharge. Every year, the Criminal Code Review Board reviews that decision.
It's 2003, just 1 week after Fredrick Banks was discovered dead in his garage. The police feel confident they've apprehended the right man, but there's always a chance that Sangster could be released if they're unable to prove it was him. Prosecutors need to build an airtight case, so this time, justice will be served. Fred Banks' neighbor recognizes Howard Sangster as the stranger who spoke to him about Fred's car. This identification will be important testimony for placing the suspect in Turtleford. Multiple witnesses help police to build the picture of Howard Sangster's movements before and after the murder. How he exchanges money with Fred's initials on it. Purchases at various stores and multiple bus ticket transactions. A pathologist analyzes the nature of the wounds that appear to have killed Fred Banks, and investigators analyze blood splatters at the scene of the crime.
A blood splatter analysis expert that comes to a scene is able to analyze why the victim's blood may either be on the wall or on the floor or a trail of blood at the scene. They're able to relay the events in a chronological manner so we understand the violence that the individual has gone through.
In addition to blows to the head, expert examination identified 3 wounds to Fredrick's neck.
The expert in blood stain and pattern analysis will look at a scene and be able to tell specific details. The force of the object, the angle, the weapon, and even secondary situations where the individual might have received a blunt force trauma from that weapon in one area of the room, but then the body was moved and he died in a different area of the room. These are the specific details that we need to know in order to solve a crime.
With the violent history of Howard Sangster, the multiple witness identifications in Turtleford, and along Sangster's escape route, combined with the forensic evidence, makes the case against Howard Sangster look irrefutable. But Howard Sangster has been held not criminally responsible for his crimes in the past. Sangster is given a psychological assessment.
In Canada, there are two different types of psychological assessments for adult offenders. There's a not criminally responsible assessment and there's a fitness assessment. So not criminally responsible assessment deals with whether or not at the time of the offense, the person had the capacity to be morally culpable for their actions. A fitness assessment, on the other hand, deals with whether that individual understands the trial process. So finding of not criminally responsible means just that, not criminally responsible. So that's not a conviction or not a finding of guilt in the eyes of the law, because that person, what the court is saying is that they didn't have the mental capacity at the time of the offense to be morally culpable for it. So it's essentially a finding of not guilty.
Will he be fit to stand trial for the murder of Fredrick Banks? Or will he go free?
If you or a loved one struggles with alcohol or drug addiction, please listen to this important message, because the help you truly need is just one phone call away. Alcohol and drug addiction impacts millions of families every year, and it can be devastating. What starts as small and manageable can quickly grow into drug or alcohol dependency and severe health problems. Addiction is a serious disease that can be life-threatening. Don't wait. You really can achieve freedom from addiction and take back control of your life. Haven Health's private detox programs have already helped thousands of patients overcome addiction, and they can help you. Call 800-599-0141 right now to take the first step in your recovery with evidence-based treatment and custom care plans. At Haven Health treatment facilities, the majority of insurances are accepted, which means you can get the care you need for little to no cost to you.
It was torture. Just knowing that I had to drink when I wanted to stop. I wanted to stop so bad, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it by myself. When my family and my friends found out, I was like, this is my chance, you know. I've got help. Through recovery, I've rediscovered myself. I don't want to drink at all anymore. It rarely crosses my mind. I'm able to be the person that I was born to be. My outlook on life is exponentially just improved.
Don't wait for alcohol or drug addiction to ruin your life. Call Haven Health now at 800-599-0141 and get an individualized approach to addiction treatment with therapies to identify, heal, and overcome the underlying causes of addiction. Haven Health also works closely with families and loved ones to foster a strong support network that promotes long-term recovery. So don't wait. Haven Health's private detox programs have already helped thousands of patients overcome alcohol and drug addiction, and they can help you. Call 800-599-0141. You don't have to face addiction alone. Call 800-599-0141. That's 800-599-0141. 800-599-0141.
The only thing I don't like about payday is waiting for it. Chime lets you get up to $500 of your pay whenever you need it. There's no interest, no credit checks, no mandatory fees. I'm not waiting for payday anymore, and you shouldn't either. Join me at chime.com and get paid when you say.
This right here is confidence in a bottle. It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
The idyllic prairie heartland of Canada. It's the last place anyone would expect violent murder. But the trial for the Turtleford, Saskatchewan senior Fredrick Banks, found dead at a gory crime scene, begins. Howard Sangster looks like the guilty party. He has a violent past. Although that crime has been expunged from his record for reasons of insanity, he walks away from those charges. It seems likely that if he goes free again, that there will be a significant risk of serious physical harm to the public. Howard Sangster must first pass the psychological assessment to see if he's fit to stand trial for his actions.
So in this case, there's a fitness assessment ordered for Howard Sangster. So what a fitness assessment is set to determine is whether or not the accused is capable of standing trial, as in, do they understand the process? So it looks at whether they understand the charges against them and the roles of the participants in the trial. So they understand what their lawyer does, what a judge is supposed to do, what a Crown prosecutor does, and basically why they're there and what's happening. If an accused is deemed unfit to stand trial, it doesn't mean necessarily that they're walking away from the charges, especially if it's serious charges. What happens then? They're often detained in a psychiatric institution until they're deemed fit to stand trial, so until they're properly diagnosed and medicated.
After the assessment, Howard Sangster is deemed fit to stand trial.
I testified at the trial as a character witness. I remember walking into the courtroom and looking at Sangster and thinking, he doesn't even look the same. That was difficult. I mean, to go to court and testify when I've never done that before was difficult. Brought everything back up, right? Everything is there. You think you deal with it, and then it's gone again, right? It's gone, and then it's right back up at you.
Howard Sangster is charged with first-degree murder, which is then reduced to second-degree murder for the murder of Fredrick Banks. The facts are presented to the jury. Fredrick Banks is found dead with extensive injuries to his head and face. His vintage Thunderbird is found unlocked with various papers and envelopes strewn about his garage. His wallet, which is famously stuffed full of thousands of dollars of initial bills, is empty. A bloody pickaxe is found nearby, and a lock blade knife found under his hip. A pathologist testifies that the 3 wounds to Frank Banks's head were caused by a sharp, straight instrument. Banks's death occurs rapidly and is caused by a very, very considerable force applied to the brain, and that the bloody pickaxe could have been the murder weapon. A Royal Canadian Mounted Police bloodstain expert testifies that blows from the pickaxe could account for the kind of bloodstains found at the crime scene. Howard Sangster appears to be or look like a man who was noticed around Turtleford the week before the murder. Multiple witnesses take the stand and the testimonies begin to add up. Howard Sangster is familiar to a number of witnesses, and the descriptions are similar. A man in his 40s with a slim build, who looks like he lives a hard lifestyle, is unkempt, unshaven, and wears a dark-colored, tattered bunny hug. 39 of the bills deposited at the bank and 4 of the bills used to buy the bus pass are studied by an expert document examiner. All but 1 of the bills carry ink markings that prove to be overwriting, or writing applied over existing letters. On all but 9 of the bills, the initials FB are overwritten. Police subsequently find the bag containing Sangster's discarded clothes from his change into fresh clothes in the North Battleford store bathroom. During the course of the investigation, these items and a number of others are sent for DNA testing. A doctor and civilian member of the RCMP give expert testimony and presents her analysis of the case through the DNA samples.
DNA is definitive, so it can turn your neighbor into a suspect because it is the biological information that our body holds that is unique. And the sample obtained from a scene of a crime
When you get a match, it is the key that opens up that lock.
The genes retrieved from the North Battleford landfill match that of Sangster. The chances of that DNA coming from another individual from the Canadian Caucasian population is 1 in 14 trillion. A swab taken from the handle of the pickaxe is of mixed origin, a two-person mixture. The DNA expert concludes that Fred Banks and Howard Sangster are both possible contributors. She goes on to explain that if the jury imagines the DNA came from other individuals with the identical profile to Banks and Sangster, it is a 1 in 1.6 trillion chance for Banks and the 1 in 1.4 trillion chance for Sangster. In the prosecution's closing address, Fredrick Banks' death, the time of his death, and the key issue, the identity of the killer, are the main elements. The murder is seen by the Crown as a case of robbery gone wrong, and the case against Howard Sangster based on opportunity and motive, Sangster's appearance of being destitute, and Fredrick Banks' flamboyance with his cash. Sangster's movements after the crime connect the dots. Howard Sangster is found guilty by the jury of second-degree murder and sentenced to life without a chance of parole for 10 years. But the defense appeals the conviction and argues that in the prosecution's closing address, they allegedly make improper comments about the DNA evidence that has been introduced, and presents additional evidence to the jury, which results in a miscarriage of justice. The appellant Howard Sangster asked for a new trial.
Every accused person who's convicted of a crime has the right to appeal. In a serious offense, an indictable offense such as homicide, it would go to the Provincial Court of Appeal first, and then depending on how that goes, up to the Supreme Court of Canada. Now, while every accused person who's convicted has the right to appeal, whether or not an appeal is granted is subject to very strict guidelines, both in the criminal code and in the common law. So the accused has to point to either an error of law made by the trial judge, or they can appeal on an error in fact, but it's much, much more difficult because deference is owed to the decision of a trial judge. And it's also very difficult to appeal a decision by a jury. Usually appeals of jury decisions can only be successful if there was some sort of error in the instruction from the judge to the jury.
Is it possible that Howard Sangster may walk free?
What made me choose SNHU was it was completely online and it was affordable.
Searching for your future? Go to snhu.edu.
Cooking rice just isn't nice. No matter how hard you try, it always comes out stuck on and dry. Until now. Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with Rice Robot, the 1, 2, 3 rice cooker. It's the easiest way to make fluffy, delicious rice every time. Watch. 1 add the white cup for rice, 2 add the blue cup for water, 3 click it and let Rice Robot perfectly cook it. White, brown, jasmine, pilaf, basmati, even sushi rice, all cooked just right. The secret is perfect cook technology that surrounds the rice with controlled heat for even cooking. Then Rice Robot senses when it's done, auto stops, and keeps it warm to serve. Rice Robot's so smart it won't burn, overcook, or undercook, guaranteed. Watch this. Add rice, water, olive oil, salt, 1 large tomato in the center, click it, cook it, and look, amazing Mediterranean rice that's just bursting with flavor. But how about an egg fried chicken rice meal for the whole family in just minutes? And rice is just the beginning. Make mac and cheese, frittatas, oatmeals, soups and stews, even ramen dishes. For a healthier choice, make quinoa, couscous, or cauliflower rice. Throw in turkey, rice, vegetables, potatoes, broth, and bring leftovers back to life. Elevate your pasta party with a melty queso spinach or a s'mores dessert dip. Rice Robot is perfect for apartments, dorm rooms, and RVs. And with a ceramic, ultra non-stick interior, cleanup's a breeze.
Call or go online now and get the complete Rice Robot cooking system with the steamer tray and 1-2-3 recipe guide. All for the special TV discount price of just $39.99. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. We'll even ship your entire order free. You get it all at incredible value for one low price. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-313-9839 or go to buyricerobot.com. So call 1-800-313-9839 or order online at buyricerobot.com today.
When you use Ibotta, there's a 100% chance of cash back.
Hello?
At offers, shop, and watch the money pour in.
There's money falling from the sky.
Ibotta, make it rain every time you shop.
Having too many options can be a problem, especially when it comes to choosing the right credit card. At Finance Buzz, we help you find the perfect card for your goals. Whether you want to earn cash back, rack up travel rewards, or take a break from high interest payments. We compared hundreds of credit cards, making it simple to find the best card for your situation and goals. Our motto is simple: your money, your life, your goals. Get started today at financebuzz.com.
Real cases.
She's been murdered.
Chilling details.
The whole floor started to glow.
And the science that cracks them wide open.
Let's cement our case.
Uncover the truth with Forensic Files. Weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. and Sundays at 1. Only on True Crime Network.
The Court of Appeal finds that in attempting to explain the complicated testimony of a DNA expert, the prosecutor moved beyond the evidence which had been given and involved himself in a discussion of technical analysis and explanations. The court ends up ruling that the prosecutor's comments did not result in a miscarriage of justice and were tempered by the instructions of the judge. Although the prosecutor went further than he should have, the whole situation is considered, and it is decided that the jury was not improperly influenced by the comments. The appeal is dismissed. Sangster's past victim, who miraculously survives his violent attack, and the unfortunate Fredrick Banks is not so lucky, finally receive a kind of justice, with the public now free from the threat of violence.
When I think about Fred, I think about how much he loved his family and loved his cars, loved being part of the community where he knew lots of people. And I think about that smile and the laugh.
But after the visit from Howard Sangster, the rural town of Turtleford will never look at strangers on their streets in the same way.
Every time you see a stranger come to town, everybody wonders, who's this guy? I mean, in the last few years, we've had all kinds of people moving in and out. And everybody, well, who's this guy? Where's he working? What's he do? And everybody asks the same question. Who's that guy? Oh, well, that's so-and-so. But I don't know half the people work in town anymore.
Howard Sangster leaves behind a legacy of fear. And as their small town expands and grows, the residents of Turtleford grow with it. They bond tighter together as a community, in vigilance and to look out for their own.
Hey, I just got a text from my sister. You remember Rick, her neighbor?
Sure. He's the 76-year-old guy who still runs marathons, right?
Sadly, not anymore.
What? You mean...
Mm-hmm. Just like that.
Wow. So sudden. We're not about to have the we need life insurance conversation again, are we?
No, we're having the we're getting coverage so we don't have to worry about it conversation.
So you're calling about the $9.95 a month plan from Colonial Penn?
I am. We put it off long enough. We are getting that $9.95 plan today.
Is it time for you to call about the $9.95 plan? I'm Jonathan from Colonial Penn Life Insurance Company. Sometimes we just need a reminder not to take today for granted. It could be the death of someone you know or a health scare. That's why today could be a great day to call for free information about Colonial Penn's 995 plan. If you're age 50 to 85, you can get guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance starting at just $9.95 a month. There are no health questions, so you can't be turned down for any health reason. This is permanent coverage. Just pay your premiums for lifelong security. The 995 plan is Colonial Penn's #1 most popular whole life plan. Options start at just $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. Your rate can never go up. It's locked in for life. Don't put it off. Take the first easy step. Call today for free information. And you'll also get this free beneficiary plan. So call now.
Call 1-800-243-5651 for your free information and free gift. That's 1-800-243-5651. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-243-5651. 1-800-243-5651. Call now.
Hello, Colonial Penn?
Growing up, I had a serious issue with my relationship with food, so I joined Weight Watchers. Never looked back. I've lost 70 pounds, and I learned to embrace every version of myself along the way.
What happens in Vegas stays. Not anymore. Play Quick Hit Slots, the free-to-play mobile slots game that everyone is playing from coast to coast. Quick Hit Slots gives you all the fun and excitement of authentic Vegas slots. So if you love daily bonuses with endless spins and prizes, Quick Hit Slots and you are a winning combination. Download Quick Hit Slots for free and get a 6 million coin bonus. Make every day a winning day.
Tired of wrestling with your sheets every night because they just don't fit right? Don't let twisted sheets keep you up all night.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Jack.
And we invented the bed scrunchie to help you get your sleep back. It's so easy.
Just clip it to your sheet, place the sheet on the bed, then pull to tighten.
Bed Scrunchie's Magic Fit Draw Cord easily secures any bedsheet to any mattress.
Locking it in for that perfect 5-star hotel fit. The secret is Bed Scrunchie's patented 360-degree draw cord and clip system that tightens any bedsheet, mattress topper, or protector so you can sleep tight all night. And when you're ready to change your sheets, just easily unlock so you can wash.
The Bed Scrunchie is one size fits all and works with any mattress from twin to California king, even boats, RVs, and sofa beds.
It's perfect for those thick pillow toppers and deep memory foam mattresses.
Even adjustable beds are no match for Bed Scrunchie.
And you're going to love this. Bed Scrunchie will convert any flat sheet into a perfectly tailored fitted sheet.
And it even extends short sheets.
And just to prove how strong Bed Scrunchie is, we're lifting up this mattress 8 feet just by the sheet.
And look, the bed scrunchie still holds on tight. Amazing!
Watch. With Bed Scrunchie, you can't pull it off. But without it, it just won't stay on.
With Bed Scrunchie, my sheets are always tight. And that means I get a good night's sleep.
With more than 500,000 happy customers,
we guarantee Bed Scrunchie will keep your sheets tight.
So you sleep right.
You think I'm strong? Bed Scrunchie's 10 times stronger.
I'm testing out my bed scrunchie by jumping on my bed. And look, my sheets are staying on.
Here's how to get yours.
Call or go online now to get America's favorite bed sheet holder, the Bed Scrunchie, for the special TV discount price of just $39.99. It comes with a 100-night sleep-tight money-back guarantee. But wait, you can get a 50% discount on a second Bed Scrunchie and free shipping. Order now at mybedscrunchie.com.
Why do we accept waiting 2 weeks for payday? Thanks to Chime, I don't have to wait to get paid anymore. I couldn't believe it. I can get up to $500 of my pay on my schedule. There's no interest, no credit checks, no mandatory fees. Join me at chime.com and get paid when you say.
One slip-up exposed their deadly secret. A killer Smith.